Some Corgi lady posted a thing that said, I took in a homeless man last night. He was wearing a tattered shirt.
Oh yeah, the snow.
Nobody got it.
It's hitting my antlers.
You're taller.
All right.
I didn't title this one on Facebook. I titled it on YouTube, not Facebook.
You
You're
can
so
always
mean.
You can edit it.
Hugh keeps forgetting to put my title on Facebook.
I always do mine
I have to
afterwards.
go back in and do it.
Say something.
It'd be really nice if my phone would actually. There we go.
That's not what I
Morning, everyone.
That's not live. We're not moving.
It's just frozen. There we go.
Is this the Christmas Spaniels?
Mm-hmm.
It's cute.
Yay. Oh, yeah, that. Now. Good morning, everyone. What a cute corgi. That's my sister's corgi. That's
Pookie's
Tristan.
done.
Bye, Pookie. She's giving you her best side as usual. So we're heading into the final countdown for Christmas, and so our house is about to get overrun with a bunch of people and a bunch of animals. So this is my sister Sally. A couple of you said that you found this person named Sally Morgan on Facebook, and she looks just like me. I wanted to know if we were related.
Who are twins?
We're only 15 months apart, so we're kind of close. And my hair was dyed blue for a while, and then it was green for a while, so we were a little closer. But anyway, so I have to show off these.
Green and sparkly.
That was my fun yesterday, and Hugh yesterday got his very first pedicure. I think it was his very first. Have you had one before? I think it was his first.
A manly petty.
We had fun. There's Mommy peering through the door. Tomorrow we'll make room for Mommy on the stage too. we squeeze. So I had a pedicure too. My toes are green. So
I think there's a cure for that.
I want to show off Charlie's toes. Can we show off Charlie's toes?
He's
Charlie,
got cute green toes.
Can you stick your toes out here?
Chuck, look at that.
He says, no, don't make me.
And you've got corgi hair stuck in your paw.
So Charlie, because he's been having so much trouble walking, I took him to the clinic on Thursday, and we shaved. Carly and I tortured him. He complained the entire time. And we shaved all the hair between his pads and toes, so now he has poodle feet. Which I really like poodle feet. Let me tell you, if you have dogs with allergies, make poodle feet. It's so good for them because there's less hair to hold all the yeast and the moisture. But then he got his toe grips put on, and they just happen to be green. But the toe grips are sized, so the color goes with the size. You don't get to choose what color you want. He just happens to get green.
He's a Christmas boy. Plus, it matches his tie.
It matches his bow. So, but anyway, he is running around the house. Yesterday, I should have videoed it because he was chasing Shayna around and trying to play with her and barking at her. And I thought he had to go out. And when I got over to the door, I realized that no, he was just chasing Shayna and playing. And it was the cutest thing.
You don't need to play.
Because he has so much trouble getting around with his arthritis. And so the toe grips have been great. So little Tristan, when he comes to visit, Tristan doesn't live with any other animals, but he's really good in the crowd. He has been.
Sometimes he's good here. He was good at Monkey's house yesterday, but he takes exception to certain dogs, and there's no fixing it.
So Sally spent how long were you got to talk this direction because of the mic? How long were you at Monkey's house yesterday?
3 hours.
3 hours. And what did you do for the kids there yesterday?
I worked with an old guy named Leo, who had a back that looked like a camel sticking up.
Yeah, he's a
And
mess.
he's bony, and he had been abused, and apparently he was hard to touch even before he came there.
Yep.
And I spent I probably worked on him at least an hour. And when we were done, he had a waddle, he had his little tail going, he was saying hi to people, and his back was straight.
So what did you do on him? Did you do craniosacral
We did
work?
craniosacral work on him. I reviewed ear T-touches with Michelle because she has a lot of dogs having seizures, one of
Yeah.
which I worked on right now, a little red one with one
Buck?
smaller eye. Yes, Buck, the cute Buck. And I wanted to show her some things she could do to help him when he's having seizures. So I worked on Buck for a while. The left side of his head was really hot, but his
Yeah,
cranial
it
bones
is.
were still working pretty well. So I think he's compensating as well as he can. And I worked on a diabetic poodle, Fifi. She was not that interested in having the work, so she let me work on her for about 20 minutes. Tristan is really not, they were not friends, so there was a lot of issues. But then I decided to work with her dog, Sora, who I worked with last time, and she said that after I was there last time, Sora was much more friendly and affectionate because Sora is really grounding. She holds a lot of energy to
She's
keep
very aloof.
everything together
everything
there.
in, yep.
Yeah, and so her right shoulder up in the scapula was just getting frozen from taking on so much. So we did range of motion and a bunch of cranial work and myofascial release on her shoulder, and she was smiling in her sleep when I was done. She's such a sweet dog.
And yeah, any time spent at Monkey's house is always, it's just you leave there with a sense of peace. You know, those animals are, you know, for all the struggles and medical issues and the fact that they're all hospice dogs, you don't, you know, people say, oh, that would be so sad. And it's not. Michelle works tirelessly to make it a happy place and keep those dogs happy and comfortable.
Well, the other important thing is there were probably, I don't know, 15, 18 dogs in the room where we were, including mine, who tends to be barky, but it was quiet most of the time. And I said, geez, this should be a model for shelters because one of the huge problems shelters face is the barking. And there's a little Corgi that someone rescued lately, and his bark is so messed up, and he doesn't sound debarked, but he sounds like he's been barking for 10 years before she got him. His voice is just deep and gravelly and, you know, like an old bar singer in the era of the 30s. And he, you know, I think it's just so stressful for them to be in that environment. And why not have like a living room with cushions for them to lay on and people to come and pet them, and they're all getting along. And, you know, ones that she was telling me came there and they were supposed to be not socialized, fit right in, got along. And I think Zora is a big part of that because she's really neutral and she's a big dog. But a lot of it's Michelle and just the energy of all the other dogs there. They don't feel stressed, so they don't need to bark.
Yeah, it's a really, Michelle is just like, I don't even want to call her the dog whisperer because that's not what she is. She cares so much about every one of the dogs. And she works really hard to give them what they need. So it's a lot of love, but whatever that interaction is, and so she'll email me and say, I just don't feel like we're giving this one the quality that they deserve. There's something missing. You need to help me figure out what is missing. And so a lot of times it's a medical piece, but sometimes like little Buck, she started sending me pictures of him maybe a week and a half ago. And she said, there's something just not right. He gets this dazed. We think he has a brain tumor, but he gets this dazed look, and she sent me pictures. And I said, that dog has a horrible headache. He just had that furrowed brow, the eyes squinted shut, and you could just see the headache. And so I actually got to see him in person yesterday when we were at the office for a couple minutes.
Oh, he had a big day then. He came all the
really
way down to Clayton and back up and then rested up for me.
But he's not closing his left eye completely, so there's definitely something going on that left side of his face where you felt all that heat. So, he's eating well, but he's just not, we're tweaking what we're doing with him to make him more comfortable. So, but Michelle is so in tune, and those little episodes that he has are brief. And they only happen a couple of times a day, but she's so tuned into every single dog.
I would call her a compassionate dog guardian because she's, like you said, very tuned in, and she doesn't look at them with pity or sorrow, but it's compassion. Like, what have you been through? And I have respect for that. And how can I help you? What do you need? And then she pays close attention to see what they need, and then meets that need. And that is something all of us wish we could do with our dogs.
Yep. And when we, when Michelle feels like the things have been stressful, so if they have a week where they lose a dog, every once in a while they have a week where we, or a couple of weeks where we'll lose a couple in close time period, then Michelle will say, okay, we need to get out of the house and we need to go on an adventure and we need to lift everybody's spirits. And so she'll just gather together a bunch of volunteers, and they have wagons and strollers and backpacks, and they'll just pile all these dogs in different cars and take them for a walk in the woods. They go to the Pine Barrens, or they'll go to the beach, and she just says, okay, we're going to go. Or
Arby's.
So they go to Arby's, and it's so funny. I think somebody gave them a bunch of gift cards to Arby's, and so the Arby's where she goes. So I know you're all thinking, "Oh gosh, these dogs are on a really good diet. What are you doing going to Arby's?" Well, her local Arby's, they know that when Michelle pulls up, they put the plain roast beef, in a little cardboard tray. And that's what Michelle buys. There's no buns. There's no toppings. She just buys Arby's roast beef. And so she'll take the dogs to the drive-thru at Arby's. And the Arby's people now know her. So she got gift cards from someone for Christmas for Arby's. And so, but that's, Michelle makes sure that she takes these animals on outings. So she rotates. And so sometimes she shows up at the office with 7 or 10 dogs just because it was their turn to get a drive.
And I was talking to her about Santa, because there was a picture with all her dogs with Santa.
Yeah,
and she
was
was telling me about taking them all through the mall and people coming to pet them. And I said, where I live, they have dogs in the mall doing therapy work because people are stressed when they're shopping. And I thought, wouldn't it be great, Michelle, if you could take them in the mall and get permission to fundraise with them while you're in there, because people love to see them. They're so cute in their Christmas outfits, and people are feeling generous, and they have that extra change in their pocket that they broke the 20. So what a better time than that to raise a little money. And so she's going to call them all and see if she can do something like that.
I would go help with that. That would be fun.
It would be fun. Well, and she said they're a big attraction in the mall. I'm like, okay.
I bet they are when you have 20 dogs all together. So one of the things that Monkey's House is doing right now is they have, I think it's a GoFundMe, but they're raising money to buy a van. And they have a picture of the van. They need to raise $30,000, and I think they're over halfway there. But it's a van where they can put a lot of dogs together, because a lot of times when Michelle, she has a SUV, and when I think it's like a Subaru Forester or something, and when she comes to the office with 7 or 8 dogs, she's jam-packed. And then a lot of times all of the gifts that are sent to Monkey's House from Amazon, from their wish list, or from wherever, those all get mailed to my office, because we don't want to put the address of Monkey's House on the website, because we don't want people just showing up there. We don't want people dropping off stray dogs or abandoning animals on Michelle's doorstep. So we have our clinic address, and so all the boxes come to us. And so some generous donor bought every single thing on the Amazon wish list for them for Christmas.
Holy cow, that's nice.
Every single thing. But
that's Santa.
We literally had to have trucks come to our office every single day for a week to pick stuff up and take it up to Michelle's. So if they had this big van, they could have, loaded everything up. But you couldn't even walk in our surgery room, our back room. It was obliterated by boxes, which is so cool. But then Michelle said, oh my gosh, I love all these donations. I'm going to have to buy a building for storage.
She's got some buildings.
She has some buildings. They're cram-packed as you go through them.
And my Brian, who helps me with my computer work, he's got an interesting fundraiser going for Monkey's House right now.
Oh, really?
He has a pair of Corgi socks, which are a little unusual. They're not easy to find. And he has them for a lot of money on eBay, but half of what he makes goes to Monkey's House. And he found them as one of the charities that you could fundraise for. So if you're looking for some Corgi socks and you have a couple $100 to spend on them, but it's going to help Monkey's House.
Money goes to Monkey's House,
So he's thinking of getting more dog products and having a continuous fundraiser for them. And
we have the continuous fundraiser going with the mugs.
Right.
And
they're sold out of Corgis. Oh, no.
A portion of the proceeds from these mugs, there's a whole shelf full above me. They're on my Dr. Judy Morgan website. Mostly we're getting down to just carrying Cavaliers, because it's really difficult to carry all the different breeds. What?
They should just go to her Facebook page.
Who's that?
Michelle.
Michelle's? Yeah. So she has a Facebook page, which is Monkey's House Senior Hospice and Sanctuary, I think. And there's also a website, monkeyshouse.org. They're always looking for volunteers. They're looking for donations of all kinds of things, as well as money. Yeah, I can post a link for it. But what she's doing is just incredibly different from any other hospice or senior dog rescue. One of the things that Michelle and I get a little upset with. There are a lot of groups out there that call themselves a hospice, but they basically just park the dogs and wait for them to die.
Right.
And at Monkey's House, we design individual meals for every single dog, and we give them the highest quality of medical care. It's not just waiting for them to die.
And quality of life. They are
quality of
petted,
life.
they are loved, they're groomed, they have cute little outfits to wear, and they have so much love, more than any dog in a shelter would ever.
So Michelle
hope
is so
for.
in tune to them. Sometimes she'll call up volunteers and say, "I just need somebody to come sit and hold this dog." Sometimes the dogs, they're just, they're needing that extra snuggle time, or they need to feel special. And so she'll have volunteers that just come literally sit and rock the dogs and hold
Well,
them.
and somebody was there doing that yesterday, and little Leo, I feel like at some point in his life had his head caught somewhere, and he was struggling. He was going through a lot of emotional release, and you could see the other dogs getting agitated for him and circling and stuff. And having that volunteer petting 2 or 3 of them in the corner was really calming for him. And he kept coming back to like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm safe, things are good for me. So it's really important to have people there to give them love.
Yeah. So, it doesn't require any special skill set. It needs to be somebody who loves dogs and wants to pet them. So on the monkeyshouse.org, there's information there about how to volunteer. Michelle has a lot of volunteers who just sign up and come at the same time every week. She needs help with making food, so they're cooking. Sally was there yesterday. They were cooking a large batch of rabbit stew.
After 35 years of rabbit guardianship, it was hard to see those legs cooking.
But a lot of the dogs have to eat rabbit.
But
'cause
somebody
it's a
would
cooling
love to
protein.
have had some.
So look how nice black his nose is. Wow. That's
He's a
patent
healthy.
leather.
He's a healthy corgi.
Show that patent leather nose. It's shiny and dark. That is beautiful. How old is he?
8. He just turned 8.
Wow, that's amazing.
He's a healthy corgi.
He eats duck, right?
He eats turkey. He
Turkey.
wants duck. Mommy needs to get him better duck. I need a duck source.
So, okay. Well, Hugh and I said we were going to do our wrapping yesterday, and then we went upstairs and all the gifts were all over our bed and all this wrapping paper and all this stuff. And we both looked at it, looked at each other, and said, yeah, no. So we just kind of moved everything off the bed, put it off to the side. So we have to wrap today. And my daughters and Brandon are showing up at about 1 today. They're bringing Mila, Panda, Reggie, and...
Reggie?
Edward.
Tuxedo.
Edward in tuxedo. If you're not following his
Reggie?
Instagram, follow
Quick, guard the
Edward's-
curtains. Reggie's coming.
Reginald. That's her older black cat.
Everything that's above 3 feet high will be on the floor.
It's going to be just craziness all weekend. That's okay.
He's a handful, that Reg. You have him
Charles.
under control.
You showing off your toes? And the boyfriend.
Corgi breath. Get so handsome. His whiskers like a cat. Loves his mummy.